Tom Calhoun, Vice President of Facilities. I've been here 8 years, and my responsibility for the university is really all things related to physical assets, land, buildings, those kinds of things. I think my thoughts were that it appeared that there was alignment between what the students wanted and what the city and county wanted. It's an interesting lashup between the city and the county. We're technically in the county, but we're on land that was donated to the university by the city. We border the city on the north, so you have to look at it from both ways. And there are different opinions and different mindsets. To the city, it's a big deal because it's right on the edge of the city, and they're smaller than the county. And to the county, while it's a big deal economically, from an impact standpoint, it's not, it's kind of spread throughout the larger county. So, but having said that, I think everybody seemed to be saying there's a value to having the university and the students here, both culturally and then also economically. And so there ought to be ways to make it more attractive to both sides. Well, we've done a lot to involve the city in our planning efforts and where we're going. In the past, the relationship between the city and the university was, in the city's view, kind of after the fact. We would come in and tell them, here's what we're going to do, we're about to start a job, here's what it's going to look like. In the past few years, we've gotten much more proactive in talking with them and say, we plan to build faculty staff housing along the border. We plan to build a road that crosses we plan to build Rogers and Whitetop. And involving them early enough in the process, Mason Inn was another example, so that they not only feel like they're having some input at the right time, but actually are providing some input at a time when they can have input. So, it's as much about making sure that everybody that has a stake in it has had a voice than it is what the final product is. I think in general we've been good about what we have built and what the impacts are, and minimizing the impacts. And so whether it's architecturally or from a traffic impact, I think even in the old days, I think we did things that were supportive of what the city would want and what the community would like. But we didn't always do a good job of involving them in the discussion. And now we're doing much better at that. And I think the road, Campus Drive, that connects the East-West campus is a great example of where everybody got a chance to say what they wanted. And in the end, we're getting a road that was essentially what we thought we were going to get from the beginning. It moved here a little bit, but in the end, it's exactly what we wanted, and everybody is supportive of that. So. That's what we're really working on, is being proactive and talking with them about projects and development long before there's a shovel about to start digging. Well, they're all impacts, and so it's tough to say this is the biggest one because you can't ignore the environmental impacts, right? Even if I don't think that's as big an issue as the amount of land that we have. So it's tough to say this is the most important one. I think you've been focusing your questions on Fairfax, and that's what you're talking about in this particular instance. But in a larger perspective, I think there's only so much land that's here, and as we move forward in terms of our strategic plan and our master plan and implementing the president's vision, is how do the things that we want to do as a university, where do they fit physically? Some of it here at Fairfax, some of it at Prince William, some of it at Arlington, and how do you take all those assets that we have and make it all work to the best of the university? So to come back to your original question, looking at the finite resources that we have in terms of both dollars and then in this particular case of Fairfax, land, how do we prioritize our needs? And what are they? And I can't answer that question. That's a university decision. But, if I have limited space, do I put a research building here? Do I put student housing here? Do I put recreation fields here? So on and so forth. And being able to prioritize our needs as a university as we move forward and think 20, 30, 40, 50 years ahead, and making the best use of the limited asset that we have in terms of number of acres on campus. So prioritizing our needs is probably the biggest challenge that we have. The rest of them, whether it's community issues or parking or environmental impacts, we can solve all of those. There are ways to do that. We do that all the time. Those are important. We got to do them. But the first thing is figuring out what is it that we want to do and where's the best place to do it. Favorite part about Mason, I love the energy that's here with the students that are here. You got 33,000 students, and obviously not any one day, but 33,000 students all with a passion for learning and energy and optimistic, and it's just a feel of positive energy, and I love that about being here. And that kind of permeates with the faculty and the staff as well. And so the fact that our mission is to provide education to students, young and old, I think is pretty cool.